Solid with the bat, stellar with the ball. Day 2 of the first test between England and Pakistan saw Pakistan play some of their best cricket that they've played in England. This is how it all panned out. Babar Azam fails to get going. Shan Masood steals the show as Pakistan's pacers turn the heat on England. All the spotlight post a remarkable day 1 was on Babar Azam, who was batting at 69 from overnight. But James Anderson on the morning of day 2 had other plans. In his home ground, he did not return great figures at the end of day 1, and that would have disappointed him. But it took him just 6 balls into day 2 to get the big fish. He got Babar Azam to play at one outside his off stump, Babar edging it straight to the slips. He was gone without adding a single run to his score tally from overnight. And if Anderson could do it, so could Broad. Broad got Asad Shafiq soon too. And suddenly there was pressure building on Pakistan. At one point between Broad and Anderson, they bowled over 6 overs without conceding a single run. And you could see that pressure was mounting on Pakistan. And it showed when Chris Woakes came in and got a very itchy and a very doubtful Mohammad Rizwan. Suddenly, Pakistan were 5 down, and the first session belonged completely to England, who gave away just 48 runs and a shade under 2 runs per over. But post-lunch, England seemed to lose the plot entirely. They gave the ball to both the spinners, who not only kept leaking runs and boundaries, which Shadab Khan hit for fun at one point, but also kept leaking quick singles, which meant that the partnership kept growing from being irritating to being threatening. Both Shadab Khan and Shan Masood stitched together a stellar partnership, en route which Shan Masood notched up his century. And what a century it was! It was not about the runs that he scored, but the balls he survived and how he shifted gears from being in the shadows of Babar Azam on day 1 to owning the show and taking the leadership on day 2. He went on to score his 3rd consecutive century in tests, and that was a major feat. Shadab Khan at the other end kept playing his shots, and by the time their 105-run partnership ended, they had put Pakistan in a position of immense strength. Shan Masood went on to score his career best 156, and by the time he was gone, Pakistan had put on the board 326 runs. But the Pakistan show was not done yet. Their pacers were bowling with their tails up. Shaheen Shah Afridi came in, bowled one straight that swung in a little to Rory Burns, trapped him LBW in front of the stumps. The on-field call was not out. Pakistan reviewed it. Burns was gone. Mohammad Abbas at the other end bowled a cross-seamer that seemed after pitching. Tom Sibley had no clue about it. He was gone too. In at number 3 was Joe Root, and with him at the other end was Ben Stokes. Captain and vice-captain had to right the ship for England, but they didn't. Mohammad Abbas came back to get Ben Stokes out for a duck, knocking him over. And suddenly, England were 12 for 3. Not a situation they find themselves in very often, especially at home. Root and Ollie Pope did seem to stitch together a partnership. They scored 50 runs together. But then Root tried to cut one too close off Yasir Shah. He was gone too. England 4 down and looking in a very perilous situation. At the start of the tour, if Pakistan were to have a dream day, it would look quite like this. They aced it with the bat and then they aced it with the ball. England are reeling at the moment in this test match, and they will need a miracle to pull them out of this precarious situation. With pacers who have their tails up and spinners who've already tasted the blood of the ball turning square on this track, how far can England fight off the Pakistan threat? Day 3 promises to be a moving one.